Hello, Brick Sculptors. Welcome back to Brick Sculpt. This is Chris, and this is the final Obelisk video. I want to start by showing you how I finish it off, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what this obelisk is and what this means, and then we'll give you the big reveal. It is kind of bittersweet to be finishing this up. It's been a long time coming, and so many of you joined this channel and this community because of this obelisk. At least for me, is a huge milestone, and I'm so glad to be finishing this project up, and I really hope you guys like the finished product. But let's go ahead and get started here. I want to show you how this base is done. I made some improvements over the last video. As you can see, this base is a lot thicker. This is now kind of a double mills deal going on. It before had a lot of flex to it. It now does not. So 2 layers here of brick. This is all tiled in. All of this funky pattern here is designed to do these concentric circles. In the middle, we have this big conglomerate of Technic pieces holding super strong. So this is very solid to the base. It even connects underneath this with pins underneath here. This is not going anywhere. So this is very stable now. It's not going to be wobbly, and it is fit to mount an obelisk. So let's go ahead and show you how we put these rings in here. And then we're going to do the flags, the little security station, talk about it a bit, and then big reveal. We'll go ahead and start with the outer perimeter. So I start with the outside and work my way in. And I've already done up these rings. You know, these are all just these 1x2 rounded tiles, and they make a nice little chain effect. And we're just going to pop this in, and this should fit very nicely. This, of course, has 25 open stud 1x1s and 25 jumpers, which makes for 50 flag holding positions. There's our first ring. Now we can move in. Our next one here is just plain light gray. Some of these are a little tighter fitting than others. But in the end, it all comes together very nicely. All right, next layer is also just gray. And it took a lot of time figuring out how to space these out just right and get this pattern down here to get the right number of studs going around. Some of them you'll see are not complete rings because they have gaps in them. And so we had to do our best to space out those gaps. Easiest way to do that is make a non-full ring so that those gaps can be minimized. All right, this next one here is the benches. And for the benches, we have to be a little bit more careful with how these set up. This one does have some gaps in it. But luckily with this one, we can hide the gaps underneath the bench. So the bench here will go right there, and then the gaps will be hidden under the ends of this bench here. This is the actual pattern of the benches. You have 3 smaller ones on 2 sides, and then 2 larger ones on the other sides. So 2 large benches, 3 small, 3 small. And this is going to be kind of the front where the security station goes right here. Next we have another full ring. And once you've got this all laid out nicely, this actually falls in nice and easily here. But getting it to do that was quite difficult, to say the least. Another full ring. You'll notice the connection points down in the middle have a mixture of just tiles where it floats over the top, double studs where it attaches in 2 places, and jumpers, which is where an odd number would hit. and just give one attachment point. That one fits really nicely in there. Some of the fits are just super satisfying. Some are looser than others, but most of them just fit in there like a glove. All right, this one here is going to be a little more tricky. It's actually in 4 pieces. Got to remember here if these are equal or not. Yes, it looks like we have 2 that are shorter. So we have to make sure we do the equal length ones opposite of each other. So we're going to put those 2 pieces in first, and then these ones we're going to hit the middle. And so you see we have gaps, but by breaking it up into 4 pieces, we can have smaller gaps. And I think that was the best way to minimize those, just having 4 small gaps that kind of blend in with the rest of the tile pattern, as opposed to 1 or 2 large gaps. Next we have our second ring of dark gray. The first one, of course, being the outer ring. And then this layer is in 2 pieces. And it is an odd number, but that's okay because the gaps are going to be small. So if they're off, not perfectly centered on the side, that's fine. Another gray layer. There we go. Another gray layer. Dark gray. This one's a bit of a tight fit. And you have to be a little careful in this because these can start to look square as you get closer. It's kind of hard to avoid. But if you massage these into the right places and get the spacing right, it should look pretty circular, not square. Sometimes it does that because all the studs are on these axes here, so sometimes it squares it off a little bit. This next one's in 4 pieces. You'll notice I'm missing a couple tiles there. That's because the security station is going to be mounted there. Oops. Another full ring. And then for this inner one, some of this is going to be covered by the obelisk. So we're just going to have 4 pieces here, and the corners don't even really matter because the obelisk is going to cover that up. So we're going to have some gaps, but that's okay. You're going to see very little of this ring. So it's just to fill in these areas. And there is our completed tiled base. I think that looks just amazing. It's been a long time coming. All right, what do we need next? We need flags, and we need the security station, and then, of course, the obelisk. Well, let's go ahead and do the flags here. I'm going to show you how I did these. I'm not going to make you watch me make 50 of these because it took forever, but I'll show you how I made one, and then you can, if you decide to do this. I know some of you aren't going to like the fact that I used paper flags, but my build, my rules. I tried other options and they just didn't look right. So I settled on just doing paper flags, and I think it looks pretty good. So I printed off these flags just like this. So you can fold them like that. Actually, I want to start with them unfolded. And I'm just going to take a piece of tape. Just like that, secure it to it. I'm going to take my scissors, cut the tape to the size of the flag. There we go. And then I'm going to take my flagpole, which is a 4-long bar in dark gray. Stick the tape on there. I like to leave a little bit at the top, just like that. Wrap the tape around, fold the flag. Bring it together on the pole and kind of bend it the other direction. Wrap the other side around. And then to keep the flag from opening up like this, I'm going to take another piece of tape over the top, like this, down to the bottom. And then I'm simply going to take my scissors, trim the front, trim the bottom, and that is how I did all 50 flags. And here they are. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in, and they look awesome once they're all installed. Now when I do this, this is the front. I want to get them at a little bit of an angle just to give them some character. But the tricky thing is the angle I use, I need to put all of them at that same angle. And the jumpers only push in a little bit. The 1x1 open stud plates, you can push them way far down in, but you want to keep them all even. So I need to be cautious of how far in I'm pushing these and make them all match. Just got to make sure I'm maintaining that angle all the way around. And it's going to take a little bit of time to do this. All right, there we go. We got 50 flags going around the outside. I think those just look amazing. Now, next step, we need the security booth. From the little research I did, I'm hearing that this booth was added post 9/11. So there's a little booth that was more modern. I just put a little 2x3 plate there. This is the booth I made, and it's real simple. It's just some of these trans black-brown pieces, some black plates, and it's mostly glass, and it's basically some metal detectors before you go inside the monument, and that's going to stick right there. Now we're going to put the monument on this, of course, but before I do that, let's talk about what this project means. Now this here was my original Lego Obelisk design. Actually, this is an improved version. The original one was much shorter and stouter, but it took the same approach with this stair-step pattern. And when I showed this on Brick Sculpt, it was groundbreaking. It was popular. People were into it. People liked seeing it. And it really is responsible for what this channel has become. I mean, so many of you subscribed because of this silly little sculpture here. And it's not silly. It's a testament to what Brick Sculpt is. And believe it or not, this, in its shorter form, sat on a table of mine for several months before I ever posted it. And I never intended to post it. I was just playing around with ideas, and I built this little obelisk, and I was looking for video ideas, and I'm like, you know what? It's not complete, it's not perfect, but let's show it off. And it worked. You guys loved it. You asked for more. You wanted to see updates and see improvements. And it was the combination of just doing it, just throwing something out there so you guys could see it, analyze it, enjoy it, and give feedback. And with your feedback, with your support, this grew into an exciting project of growth and opportunity where I got much better as a builder. And with all of your help, I improved and improved on this to what it became today. So if I didn't just take a leap and throw this out there, the channel wouldn't be where it is. My obelisk wouldn't be where it is. My building wouldn't be where it is. And I hope I've inspired some of you guys too. So maybe you wouldn't be where you are. But it's just so important to take those risks, to try those things out, even if they might fail, because you never know what they're going to become. So without further ado, let's look at the final brick sculpt obelisk.